Hello everyone, Dolphin Oracle here again tonight, and I'm taking a look. I recently did a video for MX showing different ways of setting up so you can bookmark your network shares in Thunar, which is the file manager in MX. Now I'm going to show you now in antiX the same kind of process, slightly different tools. Now what worked in MX is not necessarily going to work in antiX because antiX doesn't use GVFS or the GNOME virtual file system backend the same way Thunar does. Now antiX by default actually comes with several file browsers, but the two main ones are Roxfiler and spacefm, and neither one will browse network shares the way you can on some Windows machines. So the shares are just going to be invisible. So how do you find your shares? Well, there is a command that comes with antiX called find shares, and you can run that in a terminal and it'll show you a bunch of stuff. It will show you your IP address, where you're scanning from. It will show you all the shares that it finds, and I'm finding Samba Windows shares. It will also find network file system shares or NFS shares. You can see I have several computers here. There's a shared scan folder. There's the media PC folder. So I got a lot of shares showing up. It's actually, and I can just trust me, it has actually scanned every PC in the house that's currently on. The kids' PCs are on too, and it has found all the available shared folders. And in fact, one shared printer, which is in fact not even in a house. I need to check that one. So that's one way to that you can find the shares, and you can mount. There's a couple of different ways to mount them. Some more convenient than others. You can use the command line if you want to, and you can usually address things by either IP address, or if you are fortunate, you can also address them by their NetBIOS name, like Media PC in this case. So I'm going to show you those things. I'm going to be using the Media PC media folder. It's an open folder. It's not going to ask for a username and password for this one because it's open for my kids to use. The username and password was just driving them nuts, so I took it off. But it's just movie files and stuff like that. So the systems I'm going to show you here will handle passwords automatically, just so you're aware of that. So I'm going to close Find Shares here. I'm actually going to close the terminal altogether, and we're going to go over here to Applications, Internet. No, that's not right. Yes, it is. Internet. And we're going to see two apps in here, connectshares and connectshares configuration. Connectshares is a script that uses standard Linux mounting techniques and apps to mount network shares. And it makes it easy, either Samba or Windows type shares, or NFS or the network file system type shares. So I'm going to click on configuration, and it looks a little odd, but it's designed to work on low resource machines, which is the target market for antiX. I assure you this works very well on my old Sony 900 megahertz single core piece of junk laptop from 20 years ago. Oddly, works rather well. So we can say we're going to find shares. If you hit find shares, and you're going to be using number keys or your arrow keys, you'll see that it runs that find shares command again. It gives you the same output. That way you can do it from inside the app if you want to. Exiting back out, you can say nominate shares to connect from a remote system. This is a fancy language for set up the configuration. So you're going to get this file browser window, and what you're looking for is connectshares.conf. Now, if you're running antiX, antiX 15, antiX proper, antiX main, whatever you want to call it, the mothership, antiX, this system with the flower wallpaper and the IceWM desktop and all that stuff, not XFCE, not MX. This comes pre-installed, so you don't have to install anything. So just hit tab until your little cursor comes up over the C. Hit space to select connectshares.conf. Trust me, this is the most difficult part of the operation. It actually says what to do up here, but for those of us used to the GUI environment in the modern age, it takes a little getting used to. So then we're going to tab down to OK. And you're going to find this a little hard to see. We really need to get these colors adjusted. But this is a a file, and it's going to show you all sorts of configuration tools. Now you can do it in here, and you can see I already have mine set up. There's a remote line. You know what? This is really hard to see. I don't know if you guys can see it at home, but I'm having a hard time seeing it here. So I'm going to show you an alternate location for this file. You do not have to use this connectshares configuration utility, but it is here. If you can read the colors, fine. I'm having a little trouble. So I'm going to save and close this, and I'm just going to cancel out of this with the escape key, and we'll come into my home folder. I'm going to hit Control H to see the hidden stuff, hidden folders. The connectshares.conf file is just a simple old text file in .config connectshares.conf, and you can open LeapPad, and now we can see it. Okay. Alright, so here we have the remote PC we want to connect to. Now you'll need to make a connectshares file for every remote PC that you want to connect to. If there's multiple in your house, you'll need to have more than one of these files, and I'll show you how to set that up. So remote, I'm going to connect to the Media PC. I could use the IP address, but I'm going to use Media PC for the name. Is it a Samba? Should I enable mounting of Samba shares? Yes, I want to mount Samba shares. What's your work group? My work group's just simple old work group. Okay. So we come down. This is Samba shares remote system that require a username and password. So these are the share names that are password protected. So you would list these out and check out the example. It shows a comma at the end of even a single entry. This is very important. You want that comma in there, so that the script can parse the names correctly. So if you had one that needed a password, you could put that in here, and then you could say yes, supply the credentials automatically, or it will prompt them if you don't. And you can put the credentials in here if you don't mind storing them in a text file. You can put the credentials in here, like username and password, or you can be prompted if you're not comfortable with that. That's understandable. I have mine as shares guest is the same as a Windows just everyone access share. Okay, so I have mine as media comma. And if you need any options, I haven't needed options in a very long time. But if there are some strange gobbledygook options that you need, if you run this from regular mount command and you need them, you'll need them here. So I'm going to leave it blank because I don't need them. Now for NF shares, I'm not going to enable them because I don't have any, but you could go through the same kind of thing here. Just follow along the examples. It has the same convention of the comma at the end of every entry. Okay, just make sure the file's saved. And then you're going to get, I'm going to close actually I'm not going to close spacefm. Now that it's done, we're going to go, I am going to do one other thing though. I'm going to open Roxfiler. The shares are going, when they mount, are going to mount in the /mount folder. Now, spacefm is going to show, it's in the same folder, it's just in the Linux file system, but the spacefm will also show a link here in the mounted files, in the file systems tab over here, because it's set by default to show mounted remote file systems. But and we'll open Roxfiler here to /mount so you can see where it is, because Roxfiler doesn't have that kind of, spacefm has its own little virtual file system built into it, and Roxfiler does not. It's close to the metal, so to speak. So we're going to go back to the menu since it's properly configured, and we're going to go to Internet and Connectshares. And by default, it runs the first connectshares.conf. It tells you what's mounted. It tells you where. And there we go. Here's the link to it in spacefm. And here's my remote shares for my movies and stuff. And here it is in Roxfiler. Pretty simple. Okay. So that is one way to mount your shares. Now I've noticed one little strange tweak. If you mount by NetBIOS name, it works just like I've shown. Let me open Roxfiler back up. Oh, just like I show. If you do it by IP address, you're actually going to get an extra little nicety. You're actually going to get a little link in here in your home folder that just goes to the mount folder. It goes to the same place. It goes to the mount folder in the media. It goes to the mounted directory in the mount folder /mount folder. But you're going to get an extra link here to your home folder. It's just kind of convenient. That for whatever reason in the current version it doesn't show up if you're using the NetBIOS name. I'm not sure that's by. Oh, you know what? Here it is. I just didn't see it. Media PC. So it is there. So it's just in the. I'm used to it being at the front because with an IP address, the numbers always show up front. So there it is. So you get a nice little link in there to go to your folders. Okay. And the nice thing about connectshares method is it's using standard tools that are already built into the system, and you can access your share from the command line, from any app. You can edit files on your network. It's just another directory on your network. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect now. I'm going to show you disconnect. Internet disconnect shares. And I want to disconnect that. Okay. Now, if you want to have more than one of those, then you need to run the command and specify another connectshares.conf file. Which, if I mentioned, if you want to connect to more than one remote machine, you need to do that. So how do you do that? Well, I'm going to show you, and I like to do this in spacefm. I set up a new command, and I'll say connect to media PC, and that's just going to run connectshares as it is, because that's the default, the way I have it set up. You just type it in, and then you can run another one. Now, when you do this again, you're going to get, there's no new add command. That's a old holdover. So you do a right click on the thing and say new and command. And now I want to link to another one. All you have to do is say connect share or connect to. Whoops. This doesn't matter. This is just a label. Connect to my scan folder, for instance. Okay. And now I'll say connect shares. Connect shares 2.conf. Okay, and you have to make that file. You have to make a new one, and you can either copy the old connectshares file in your file browser, or you can go through and make a new one from the template in the configuration utility. Just give it a new name, and whatever name you give it, call it here. Or you can do this from the command line. You can do it from the run terminal. You can make a new link in your personal menu. Check out the video on how to do that, on how to make new links in the personal video. It should be a default link in your menu, so you don't even have to go looking for it on YouTube. But it's the same concept. You just give it a parameter to go. And we'll cancel out of that because I don't need it right now. And you can put disconnect shares in there too if you want to. So that is how you mount your network shares in antiX. For tips, tricks, how-tos, head over to antiX.mepis.org or throw up a post at antiX.freeforums.org. This is Dolphin Oracle signing off. Have a great night.